So it's going to be an 18-minute plus 1 lap race this time. So a slightly longer race, Josh. So they'll need to think about the wear on the tyres. Green flag waved at the back. 5-second board is shown. Red lights go on. Lights go out, and away we go then. And it's a pretty good start from the pole position car. That's Jazz Sapra. A good start too by number 4, Gary Hufford from the 3rd row of the grid. He's already into 3rd position. Rick Kerry trying to go up on the inside as well. Paul Cook in the M2 class car was not away that well. He's lost a couple of positions, but it looks like it's Jazz Sapra, I think, that's leading the way down to Cascades for the first time, with Michael Pensaval in 2nd, Rick Kerry 3rd, then Mike Cutt 4th.
Graham Crowhurst and Paul Cook are side by side. That's for the M2 lead, and Paul Cook round the outside hangs on. There was a couple off at Oulton, but they got back on safely. So down towards Island Bend we go then, and it is the top 2 as they started. Sapra and Pensaval, the 2 invitational cars, getting away, but for the M1 lead around the outside comes Mike Cutt of Rick Kerry. Can he get there? He's got a long way around on the banked corner. You've got Gary Hufford there too. Oh, there's been a big accident there between Darren Ball and Kevin Denwood. So a couple of the 6-cylinder cars. I don't know if it looks more dramatic because the boots come up. But and immediately the safety car boards are out.
Yeah, and that's at Cascades, isn't it? In the gravel trap at Cascades. So I imagine that they'll haul them out of there.
Some pointed fingers from Darren Ball there. Of course, the championship leader within Class 6 coming into this weekend from Gareth Montgomery and Stuart Pywell. So the safety car there, the 750 Motor Club, Renault Megane, is prepared on the start and finish line. The cars, of course, racing to the yellow flag. Well, don't think they would have raced much further, but that side-by-side battle for the M1 lead between Rick Kerry and Mike Cutt was rather good.
It was indeed, but all being neutralised now, as the drivers are still having a discussion, aren't they, down there? You are on camera, guys, about what happened there. Kevin Denwood and Darren Bull, pointed fingers. I think the marshal's given up trying to separate them. Now pat on the shoulder, so maybe they're all made up, which would be good to see. Calm down. There we go. Right, so those cars will be recovered from the gravel trap. The cars that are in the race are heading back towards us. They're being very orderly, aren't they? In that Jazz Sapra effectively decided to control the pace as they come round under the safety car, and they will be picked up by the Renault Megane that's on the start line. It's just moving away from its position now. So we'll give you a rundown on what the order actually is at the end of lap 1 as they come through. So it is the 140 car from pole position, Jazz Sapra leading from 146. Michael Pensaval in 2nd place. As Josh said, both of those are the invitation class cars. So the first class M1 car is number 2, Rick Kerry, from number 44, Mike Cutt. Then Gary Hufford is 3rd in number 4. The first M2 class car is Paul Cook in number 26, from number 15, Graham Crowhurst. And then it's 69, Jason Hollyhead. Adrian Williams is 9th, and Richard Bromley rounding out the top 10. The first of the 6-cylinder class cars that's come through is Bill Redrop, actually, in number 8. He's in 14th position, so he's ahead of Jim Benson, but we've lost 2 of the 6-cylinder class contenders. And Matt Page in 16th place overall, leading the Cup class at the moment. In 16th, as I say, from Carl McMillan, who's 19th.
There's another car off there at Cascades, I reckon, isn't there, on the right-hand side of the circuit before the other 2. So we'll try and figure out who that could have been, because we haven't heard Stuart Pywell through the other 6-cylinder front runner.
Yeah, so cars that didn't come through at the end of the lap were Ball and Denwood, we know about, and Stuart Pywell. Also Paul Laramie as well, I think, has not reappeared. But if it was a grey-coloured car, then that would be Pywell, wouldn't it?
And it'd been the three of the 4 fast 6-cylinder guys getting involved, and Jim Benson, the only real one that survived it, but he did fall behind Bill Redrop.
Well, possibly that counts for Bill Redrop managing to sort of squeeze through whatever chaos was going on, because where did he start on the grid? He started just 1 row behind Jim Benson, didn't he?
So that's interesting. The 3 M1 guys together, Kerry, Cutt and Hufford, they're all battling for that class championship, aren't they? On adjusted scores coming here, actually on full scores as well coming here, just the 5 points between Cutt, Hufford and Kerry. Cutt would, of course, extended that lead in the earlier race, but not much really between them. So that's a real class championship battle as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's looking like there's a battle going on for each of the classes. Really, it's got its own battle going on, hasn't it? For the championship, there's no one really getting away with individual classes, but certainly it's that both of the guys in the cup class, Page and Watson, particularly Page, are getting away a little bit from the remaining classes.
The point system really rewards finishes, doesn't it?
It
If
does.
you can consistently be up there, like Clive Watson there talking about the cup class, even though he's only won the 1 compared to Matt Page's 7, was only 6 points behind coming into the meeting. Of course, Page has made that 8 in the earlier race, but been, I think, second every time out for Clive Watson.
Effectively, you get 3 points for turning up, and then 10 for win, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, etc. And so it's 13 for win, 12 for second, 11 for third. So there's not much differentiation in the points. So if you do get consistent runs together, that's good. But finishing is important, I guess, is the message there.
Yeah, because that's sort of how the M1 guys have fallen down in the overall order. There's Pywell's car being put over the barriers, so we did identify that one correctly. Just wondering how much damage might have been sustained. It's a real shame for him, because that's the first time in that earlier race we really saw him battling for the class win, wasn't it? It's a real pick-up of pace from Stuart Pywell here. He was as well the third in the championship in Class 6 heading here to Oulton Park, but still got a bit wrong in this race, unfortunately for him.
It has, it really has. He's someone who's been there or thereabouts the last couple of seasons, a relative newcomer to the category. It was a new car for last year, so it had only done 12 races before this year. 42-year-old from Wakefield. So Jazz Sapper comes through at the end of lap 2, of course still leading this race from Michael Pensaval in second. Then you've got Rick Kerry in third place in car number 2, the 47-year-old from Ipswich, the managing director of Ipswich Accident Repair Centre. He was a banger driver in the late 90s, then he did Group 1 touring cars in an XR3, did the Combo BMW Championship as well. First diesel car in the British Touring Car Championship he also drove. Got one in the pits as well. Can we identify who that is? Just trying to work that out. But there's only one car that has made a pit stop. Meanwhile, you can see the recovery crew still working hard down there at Cascades to get rid of the cars. We've had 7 minutes of the race so far. It's the 91 there, I think, isn't it?
That's Hugh Gurney.
Yep, who finished 7th in race 1, so it'd be disappointing for him.
Wonder if he
potentially out of the race.
He got caught up in something down there, perhaps dropped some positions.
Right, Darren Ball's got out of the gravel on his own accord, by the looks of it, so that saved the recovery crews a bit of work. Possibly just needed a bit of a tug out of the gravel.
Hopefully that means the car's not really very damaged either.
It is, I would think so. Gurney's going to go back into the race by the looks of it. So maybe we'll see the safety car go in this time. We've had just about 8 minutes of the race so far, but only really about half of a racing lap before the safety car boards went out.
Yeah, because we were looking to the longer race, weren't we? Thinking about lap traffic and managing the cars, the tyres over the distance. That sort of goes out the window now.
It does. Well, it'll be more or less sort of, well, it'd be even slightly shorter race, won't it, than the earlier, in terms of actual race time that they get.
Of course, this is hampering David Kempton's run through the field, because he had come from the back into the top 20.
Yeah, 18th at the end of lap 1.
But, of course, now he's had a couple of laps where he's not been able to move forwards, but he will sort of look to do that and see how far he can get. Yeah,
David Kempton, who had the retirement earlier on, of course, and he's had a new diff made for this weekend. He also has preparation for this weekend. He's been in some virtual reality racing of Oulton Park, as he hasn't raced here for 8 years, he says. He reckons the car's now well set up and, albeit well, should be running up the front. Well, if it hadn't been for that incident in race 1, or the problem in race 1, it would be. His car, he says, has 374 brake horsepower. It weighs just over 1,300 kilos with the driver and the fuel, and it has to be at least 1,294 kilograms, he says, to stay within the regulations for the power-to-weight ratio. So there we go. That's David Kempton, sponsored by Red Book Global, A. Woods and Oulton Escalators and Lifts, who also helping with the live stream here at Oulton Park today. So safety car light's still on for the moment. But I think in previous races we've not really seen them turned off until they get under the white bridge, more or less. So we'll keep an eye as to whether they do go out this time. Still on at the moment.
You'd have thought that that's the plan, wouldn't you? It looked like Cascade had been cleared, but maybe not, which is a shame for the championship to have another lap under the safety car.
Right, no, Kevin Denwood's car wasn't clear. That was still in the gravel trap, and that's now being pulled away, so it's going to be one more lap, isn't it, I would think. So we'll have had 10 minutes so far, and laps under the safety car are taking about 3 3/4 minutes. They might be able to do this one a little bit quicker once they know that that vehicle is clear. So what will be up to? We'll be about 13 and a half, 14 minutes. So we'll probably get 3 laps, I would think.
So it certainly is going to be less than the earlier race.
Yeah.
Which means those a bit further down than they would like to be have got to get a bit of a move on, haven't they, to move forward. Be interesting to see who the likes of Rick Kerry, Mike Cutt and Gary Hufford, where they're interested about challenging those invitational cars, or they're just worried about battling for that M1 victory where the points are.
Yeah, because the points in M1 are quite close, aren't they? Or they're working into this weekend. Mike Cutt 77, Gary Hufford 76, Rick Kerry 72. If I look to see how they'd changed earlier on for those 3. Well, I can't tell you how for those 3 because I've only got 2 of them on my spreadsheet. But Hofford in the early race was a non-finisher, wasn't he? So
No, it should have been 5th in class, or
no, it wasn't shown in the results. So
so they've been, because of the non-transponder.
Possibly the transponder issue is meaning that he's not been timed.
Well, because the weird thing is the grid for this is set by the result of the earlier race, and he started on the 3rd row of the grid.
Yes. So unless that result has been changed since the one that we've seen, which is possible, of course.
That's added further confusion to it.
I'll do some research. So safety car continues its way around.
Hopefully
Gary Hufford was put, by the looks of it, back into the results in 6th place. Yeah, so that makes a little bit of sense in terms of how the grid was formed up.
Hopefully his transponder's been sorted, otherwise he may well not get classified for this one, but looks like
it has.
So that's good.
So 12 minutes now gone. Safety car is heading to Britain's chicane.
Good job that this isn't a shorter race, isn't it?
It certainly is, because otherwise there would have been very little left of it. So we talked a little bit about Rick Kerry. Mike Cutt, 44, is a 47-year-old engineer from York. He was the Northern Sports and Saloon Car Champion in 2011 and 2014. Also had race wins in the Come Over BMW Championship. Sponsored by JC Racing, TG Cutt and Son Fire Extinguisher Services as well. Gary Hufford, we've mentioned him a moment ago. He's a builder from Stevenage, 52 years of age. He raced in MX-5 for 4 years, raced in the M3 Cup for the last couple of years as well, or the 2 previous years, and had 4 wins in the BMW Car Club Racing Series as it was last year. And then Paul Cook, number 26, 49 years old, from Stonesfield, a director of Top Gun Refinishing. 12 years of Cub karting. He's been in car racing from 2015, initially with MR2s, then M3 Cup from 2017 as well. 4 MR2 wins and 6 M3 Cup wins last year, so he was the most winning driver in the 750 Motors Club last year. So, at the point, hopefully, where we'll find out if the safety car is going to come in this time with just under 14 minutes on the clock. They're heading under the bridge at Clay Hill now, the pedestrian bridge there, and fingers crossed, about to... Yeah, safety car lights go out as it turns into Druids Corner, which is good news, Josh.
Absolutely, because it's only going to be, 3 or 4 laps, I think, that we get in the end, which should be an interesting battle, though, because we saw Mike Cutt have a good challenge on Rick Kerry before the restart. It looks like they're not really worried about these invitational cars, are they? They're letting them go and having their own race.
Well, yeah, Jazz Sapp was quite close to the back of the safety car, which is unusual, as the safety car about to pull into the pit lane. So green flag's being prepared by the marshals on the start line. The race gets back underway, so it's Jazz Sapra then leading. Second is Michael Pensaval. Has a look down the inside as they go into Oulton corner for the first time on the restart. Rick Kerry third, Mike Cutt fourth, Gary Hufford fifth, Paul Cook, Graham Crowhurst sixth and seventh, and it's Jason Holyhead in 8th place. The race well and truly back underway.
Got the two 6-cylinder cars there just behind Joe Geach, Will Redrop and Jim Benson. But yeah, Rick Kerry didn't look like he was worried about those two invitational entries, was he? He was just worried about this M1 battle that he has with Mike Cutt. So he let those two cars go so they can have their own race. And they make their way in towards Island Bend. Cutt in the M3, the 36 model, right behind the 1 Series of Kerry, who defending hard there into Shell Oils. And that means there's nowhere through for Mike Cutt. You've got the M2 leaders right behind Gary Hufford. So that is Paul Cook ahead of Graham Crowhurst as they make their way off down towards the Britain chicane. You can't really miss Paul Cook's car, can you?
No, it's that day-glow livery there, very striking indeed. Leaders down towards Hislops for the 5th time, and it's Pensaval on the inside, and he's got the lead away from Jazz Sapra now, so Pensaval takes the lead of the race here at Oulton Park. Oh, but he loses it, big moment there. Jazz Sapra's going to try and come back at him, they almost touch. They just about have made contact. Pensaval was sideways, but he's got it pointing in a straight line once again. He leads, Jazz Sapra second, Rick Kerry third, fourth is the race 1 winner, that's Mike Cutt.
OK, that's pretty entertaining stuff down there at the chicane. Perhaps that's why Rick Kerry didn't want to get involved with the invitational battle. That was pretty interesting stuff, sideways and a bit of contact down there too. Gary Hufford can't live with the pace of Kerry and Cutt, and he's just ahead of the M2 cars that are behind. Again, Sapra trying to fight back on Pensaval there, up the inside into Lodge. Couldn't do it, he gets a twitch on the exit. Trying to get the power down on the exit of the corner, and the 2 M1 cars of Kerry and Cutt are there behind. I don't think there's a challenge there from Mike Cutt, so they turn their way through Old Hall. He's always strong down towards the Shell Oils hairpin, so that's potentially going to be the place to look out for. Down into Cascades they turn at the moment. The two leaders are still together. Sapra not letting Pensaval get away. Just
looking, David Kempton is up to 13th place, you can see out of our window, so another 5 places made up on that lap. Pensaval has the fastest lap, a 1:53.34. The fastest lap earlier was a 1:51.11, set by Pensaval, who continues to lead here, but Jazz Sapra is right on his tail as they go into Shell Oils corner, and the challenge on for the M1 class lead as well. It's Michael Cutt trying to go around the outside of Rick Kerry. We saw this happen before the safety car went out, and he's not really been able to make that work. So it's Rick Kerry still third, but leading the M1 class. Mike Cutt in 4th position. They're making their way up towards Britain's and then towards Hilltop for the 6th time in this race, but only really the 3rd time under racing conditions. Here are the two leaders cresting the hill. It's Sapra who's going to have a look down the inside, but he tucks back inside. Then it's Rick Kerry third, and then behind, look at that, you've got Gary Hufford under a lot of pressure from the 2 M2 class leaders. Absolutely, and Cook trying to find a way through at the same time of keeping Graham Crowhurst at bay, and he's doing so at the moment as they turn their way now through Knickerbrook, the right-handed corner, and Cook gets a better exit but doesn't have the power, and that might allow Graham Crowhurst to squeak through. He's up the grass on the inside of Clay Hill. That's a pretty dicey move, but he couldn't get alongside Cook, so Cook does hang on, but Graham Crowhurst tried everything there to pull up alongside the similar M3 of Paul Cook. These two cars that were built to M3 regs. They're the M1 leaders as Mike Cutt tried to go around the outside of Rick Kerry, couldn't make that one work. So leaders go on to the last lap of the race. The last lap board is shown to Pensaval and Sapra, and then to the cars behind of Kerry and Cutt, the 2 M1 leaders, and then the rest of the field through, led by Gary Hufford. Class 6 being led by Jim Benson now from Bill Redrop. It was only about half a second at the start of this lap. They should be coming through at any moment now, and we'll see where they have come through. David Kempton has, yes, he's come through in 13th place, so no more places made up for him, and it is Jim Benson that is still leading in the 6-cylinder class, the Class M1 cars, heading down through Island Bend once again, and it's still Rick Kerry ahead of Mike Cutt, but is he going to have another of these brave goes around the outside at Shell Oils corner? Rick Kerry's not going to give him much choice, he's not going to let him go down the inside. But it's a slightly different tactic taken that time by the race 1 winner, Mike Cutt. The two leads about 4 seconds up the road now, but they're from the invitation class, so we don't worry too much about those. There's the... Oh, and it's Hufford now with Paul Cook just behind him. They've dropped Graham Crowhurst as well. That's the M2 class battle. Yeah, so Paul Cook doesn't have to worry about keeping him behind so much.
And Kerry's got perhaps a bit of a bigger margin over Mike Cutt in towards Hislops. Although a better line, I think, for Cutt. Yes, he's right back on the tail of Rick Kerry, but nowhere to go. He tries to come up the inside at Knickerbrook, but there just isn't the room to get alongside Rick Kerry, who's been defending very well during the course of this race. Somebody's lost their bumper at the Britain's chicane by the looks of things, but hopefully have been able to continue. Kerry and Cutt then look like they're probably going to finish in that order, because Rick Kerry's good defensive drive it has been. But out front, Ian, the invitational cars turn into Lodge.
Yeah, so Michael Pensaval heading up towards Lodge Corner for the final stop. There's a car off down at Shallows Corner, we can see, but the checkered flag goes out now, and it's Michael Pensaval that takes the checkered flag to win the race from Jazz Sapra in second place. But for the fourth time this season, it's an M1 class victory for Rick Kerry, just ahead of Michael Cutt. There was only about 0.3 of a second between those two. Fifth place goes the way of number 4, Gary Hufford. Sixth, only just by 0.15 of a second, is number 26, Paul Cook, from number 15, Graham Crowhurst. 69, Jason Hollyhead is 8th. Adrian Williams is 9th. Richard Bromley is 10th. Did we work out who that car was that was off, Josh?
I think it was Cole McMillan that was second in the Cup class up to that point. So he had been having a good race off there at Island Bend. And the bumper that was missing there, that's off the leader car, isn't it? Michael Pensaval, I think, lost his bumper up at Britain's. The 6-cylinder cars are through, and it's Jim Benson that wins this time. He beat Bill Reddrop, and the Cup class winner should be through soon. Number 46, Matt Page. Here he comes, so he wins the Cup class. And I think the rest of his class a bit further back.
Yeah, so a short but sweet restart after the safety car then. Just a few racing laps. So we've got one off as well towards the end. That's the 83 car that has had a moment. That's Gary Burstow, the driver from Kings Langley, in his M3.
A weird place he's ended up, isn't
yeah,
it?
It's between Shallows Corner and Britain's. Not normally a place where you see cars go off. So quite how he got there, I'm not quite sure. But there, as Michael Pensaval fails to stop to pick up the bumper that has fallen off his car, Michael Pensaval heading round on the slowing down lap, just Sapra second. But Rick Kerry there getting an important win as far as the M1 Class Championship is concerned, finishing ahead of his rivals Mike Cutt and Gary Hufford. Paul Cook not really going to be a contender for Class M2, I don't think, because he's missed several races.
But he's taken points away from Crowhurst, who was looking at that overall championship battle against Matt Page.
He was, indeed. And Adrian Williams, I think, will still be ahead in Class A2, but Crowhurst will be narrowing that gap now.
Yeah, Crowhurst is better on the drop scores.
Yeah. The 6-cylinder class, Jim Benson winning that by about 4 seconds in the end from Bill Reddrop, and Dominic Earley was third within that class, and Matt Page getting another Cup class win, so he is looking like the man who is heading towards the championship this year, Josh.
Yeah, nobody's really been able to challenge him. That first race that Clive Watson won, but Matt Page has sort of been dominant in every race since. Nobody has come particularly close to him. So Matt Page, the form driver there in Cup, finishing 16th overall and about 20 seconds, I think, clear of the rest.
But a bit of a shame that we lost so much racing time there, but what is good is the size of the grid here that we have in the BMW Car Club Racing Championship. I mean, without a doubt now, it's the biggest BMW sort of multi-make category in the UK.
Absolutely.
Multi-mark, I should say. Multi-model, probably the word I'm looking for.
And there's lots of BMW championships about, which I think has been a feature of Autosport over the course of the last couple of years. But this new series, as it was last season, by the BMW Car Club, has absolutely caught on. I guess having the car club as part of the championships, they really helped bring out people with their BMWs. And if you're a BMW fan, part of the car club, perhaps with your road car, this is a great series to be able to watch.
We've seen all the drivers who've been racing in other categories in these cars moving across to the BMW Car Club Racing Championship, as well as the word has spread as to what great racing and good value and what a friendly atmosphere it is.
Yeah, because of course running on treaded tyres here, I think, rather than slicks in other places, that helps to keep the price down, which is all really about the 750 Motor Club, the affordability of it. Majority of the championships all run on treaded tyres, which tends to keep the prices in a better position for competitors, rather than having to put a new set of slicks on every time out. And the power to weight ratio and all that type of thing helps to keep the regulations, keeping the cars pretty equal, and you see the great battles in all the classes we've been speaking about.
I know we've been getting grids very regularly, quite close to capacity this year, but I know that McDonald, who's the man behind the championship, is already sort of trying to plan ahead for next year, fully expecting more of the same, or even having the sort of problem potentially of oversubscribed grids, which is a nice problem to have, but I'm sure it's one that can be dealt with.
Well, I guess there could be a nice split as well with the M-powered cars perhaps having their own race, and then to the rest, and then that will really perhaps give more interest to those perhaps with the 4 and 6 cylinder cars to have a race without having to worry about the big power cars in the race.
And as you say, there's plenty of cars that would be eligible out there as well to move across into the BMW Car Club Racing Championship, so I really do see a bright future for it over the coming seasons, and indeed for the rest of this year with the 750 Motor Club. I can see drivers now heading in towards the clutches of Jacob Harris, so we'll be ready and waiting to hear from him in just a few moments' time.
We are down here in the pits with Rick Kelly. Rick, winner of Class M1.
Yeah, that's right. I know Cutsy behind me was a lot faster, and I just had to defend for my life for 3 laps because of the safety car. But yeah, didn't expect that, to be honest.
How tough is it to defend around here?
It's fairly. I mean, I've been about for a long time, and I knew I probably had a bit of grunt. If I could get out with the corners right, you just had to defend on the way in. So it didn't do me lap times any good, but it got me a result, which is great.
Is the heat still an issue out there, or is it cooling down a bit this late in the evening?
Still hot for me. My car do run a bit hot. But because we only done 3 laps at race pace, it didn't really. The heat didn't come into it so much. I'm just hot.
So a bit less of a challenge. And you're out next round as well?
Yeah, Snetterton is the next one, my home track. So looking forward to that. So it should be good.
Looks like you're hitting form at the right time.
Yeah, hopefully so. I've had 3, it's my 4th win, so there the car's finally getting set up after a lot of hardship. Really, it's been really hard to get it running right, but we're sort of getting there now.
How tough is it to set up one of these BMWs for a race meeting?
With mine, because it's a V8 and a 1 Series, it's different. There's not anybody else sort of really running at front running in this series. So with the other cars, they've been tried and tested for years. So I'm probably developing every time I go out in the car.
So it's a bit tougher than most then?
Yeah, it's tougher than most, I think. But yeah, we're getting there slowly.
Glad to hear it. Congratulations on your race win and all the best to Snetterton.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Paul Cook. And Paul, have I spoken to you already today?
Yes, yeah, once, yeah.
So a successful day for you then?
Yeah, really good. First sort of kind of BMW race back after a 3-month sabbatical. And yeah, 2 wins is top of the draw.
Is it the rest and relaxation did it, or is it your permanent class?
No, the rest and relaxation did this, and yeah, it's just missing the racing really. Give me the oomph to get out and do it.
How long did it take you to get back into the groove?
Yeah, it's not easy, but you know, yeah, a couple of laps. The race itself, struggled to get past Gary, Graham putting a lot of pressure on me. Kept on missing 4th gear, so give Graham a few opportunities to get by, but yeah, overall it's a good weekend.
Have you enjoyed it here at Oulton Park?
Yeah, it's a cracking track. Really love it. Back here again 3 weeks' time in the MR2 Championship, so I shall know my way around by then.
Absolutely. Thanks for talking to us. All the best for that weekend. And we have now Jim Benson, who is a Class 6 winner. Jim, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a bit of a fraught race from the start, but I managed to stay out of trouble and capitalised on that.
Bit of an improvement on your 3rd place from earlier. What have you done differently this afternoon?
Well, I made a bit of a bad start again in race 1. So although it wasn't the greatest to start, it was much better, and staying out of trouble paid the dividends. So the form from the last couple of races is carried forward. So I know I've got the pace with the last 3 race wins. So it's nice to come on the top step again.
Looking to finish the season strongly then. How are you at Snetterton?
Yeah, it's a power circuit. So hopefully the bigger classes will clear off and leave us 6-cylinder, the Class 6 to ourselves. Yeah, it's a track known. It's a common track for me as well. So hopefully I'll perform well there as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for talking to us, and congratulations on your class win. Right then, we have 2 more races left for you here at Oulton Park today, and we have another interview as well, actually. Matt Page, Cup Class winner. Apologies, we do have 2 more races, but first, Matt, tell us about your race.
It was a little bit exciting at the start of it. Had 3 cars going off and that, and had to try and keep it from smashing up into them. After that, I thought I had a nice clear gap from the other Cup cars on the restart, so I just kept myself to myself and just kept it going, keeping it on the track.
Is it tough keeping these things on race pace after the safety car? A few people have mentioned these cars get a bit hot. You thankful for the break?
No, I like to just go flat out the whole way. You know, I don't like missing the safety car, and it's just time for the other guys to smash up their cars and everything. So I don't like any of that. I just like to go racing and everyone to benefit from it. You know, it's just about going out there and having fun at the end of the day. So it's not nice to see it, but the car was absolutely epic. There was no downfall on it, whether it gets hot or cold. I mean, the tyres go off a little bit, so it probably done a favour on the tyres, but other than that, it was actually a really good drive.
All in all, a good race meet for you then.
Yeah, brilliant. 2 wins. Thanks.